In today's video, we're going to be going through examples from Unit 7, Lesson 9, where we graph inequalities and also solve inequalities. Okay, we'll review what we talked about yesterday, thinking about some of those new keywords and phrases to come up with an inequality for this first example, as well as then graphing it. If you need to be under 48 inches to go on the Ferris wheel, that means your height needs to be less than 48 inches. When you're writing an inequality, you also want to think about, can it equal this amount? And if you need to be under it, then no, we cannot be equal to that. So the inequality here is x is less than 48. When I go to graph that, I can set this up on a number line. And what I'm looking for you to do is list out some of the values, what's above it, what's below it, and we extend a number line with arrows on the end. Remember, when you're graphing, you're going to put a circle at the numerical value in the inequality. Okay, I'm going to leave this unshaded because it cannot equal 48. And then if it's less than, I'm going to shade in my line and arrow, indicating any of these numbers to the left of 48 would be a solution to this inequality. The next part of this lesson takes some skills that we learned in a previous unit on solving equations and applies them to inequalities. If you're solving an inequality, just like you would solve an equation, you need to isolate the variable, which means get it by itself. Okay. In order to be able to graph this, I need it in that basic format of the variable on one side and the number on the other. If I want to eliminate a plus 19, I use my inverse operation, which is the opposite. Okay. The opposite operation of adding is to subtract. And the reason why we use that is so that these two things can cancel each other out. If I did it on one side, we do need to keep it balanced and do the same thing on the other side. So my inequality reads x is greater than 24 minus 19, which is 5. Okay. Be careful with the directions. This one does ask us to graph it after, so I'll set up a number line to do that. Again, 5 is in the middle, 4, 6. Okay, and a solution to an inequality can be any of these numbers. So again, notice we're using the greater than symbol, not equal to. So keep your sign the same. Great, I'll put a circle at 5. This is greater than, so greater than means I'm going to shade it to the right. Okay, meaning if I put any of these numbers from the number line into this equation for x, that would make it true. For example, if I put 6 in for x, 6 is greater than 5. Okay, let's look at one more example. And what can be tricky when we're solving inequalities is remembering what some of these symbols mean. Okay, if I'm writing p over 4 in its fraction form, that's really saying p divided by 4. Okay, so I'm going to use the opposite of division, which is multiplication. Okay, and dividing by 4, multiplying by 4 cancel each other out, leaving p by itself. Keep the inequality symbol the same, and we're going to do the same thing on both sides. Okay, 18 times 4 is 72. Okay, and again, this one does ask us to graph, so I'll show you the graph of p is greater than or equal to 72. Okay, careful that you use your new numerical value and don't go back to the original amount. Okay, because this is the solution to the inequality. Okay. Again, to graph it, I'm putting a circle at 72. This time I'm going to shade it in because it can equal 72. And greater than points this way, so I'm shading my line this way. Today's lesson incorporates a new skill of solving inequalities and also goes back to what we did yesterday with the graphing and writing. Use the graphic organizer to help you when it comes to writing inequalities, learning that new vocabulary.